From Ticker, you're watching She's the Boss. Here's Jules Brooke.
Hi and welcome to She's the Boss, which is the show all about female founders and women in business. Now today I have two spectacular guests as always. I'm very excited to be talking with Julie Hogarth Williams, who runs the Seniors channel, and Belinda Jennings, who is the founder and owner of Mum Central in Adelaide. Well, it's Australia-wide. So welcome, girls.
Hello.
Hello. It's so great to have you on here. I'm just really excited to interview you and hear both of your stories. Let's start with you, Belinda. Can you tell me what it is that you do and why you're doing it? A big question.
Sure. The loaded question. So look, Mum Central is has been around for 10 years now. After having my first son, I started a baby classifieds. It's morphed into this powerful online community. And Mum Central really is this dynamic hub of authentic information for mums, and predominantly, not just around parenting. It's about lifestyle. It's about food. It's just about connecting mums with the information that they need to kind of make the best choices for their family. So we're an online lifestyle platform. We have about 800,000 mums around the country.
Oh my God, sorry, I just have to interrupt you because 800,000 is insane. Like really, that is, you are obviously, are you the number one website in Australia? You must be one of them for mums.
We're heading up that way, don't you worry about that.
I bet you are.
And I guess I love that we've,
go on.
Sorry, I just guess I love that we've grown organically in this time, just through mums connecting with us and sharing with other mums. And
how long have you been running it for, Belinda?
Well, Mum Central's just over 5 years old. Like I said previously, I started as a baby platform, like at eBay and Gumtree for parents, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth in running an online community, and I just let my passion drive where we wanted to go and let the mums tell us what they wanted out of the network.
It's just so amazing. So how old are your kids now? I assume you set this up when they were babies. Is that sort of how it happened?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I've got two boys. They're 8 and 10 now, so a completely different phase of parenting is ahead of me right now. But I did start the baby classifieds when my son was 6 months old. So we were selling the gear that he didn't need. I was on maternity leave and just realised that I need this cash back. I don't want to be paying eBay, and just had to get savvy about how I funded that next stage of growth.
It's just such a clever idea, and I'll come back to you about it after Julie's had a chance to tell us what she does, because having worked in the PR space myself, particularly in parenting, to have done what you've done over 5 years, to me is kind of mind-blowing. I really want to know how you did it, because there are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of mums out there that would love to be doing what you're doing, I would have thought.
Absolutely. I guess that's the passion that drives me too, is helping others on a similar journey.
Yeah, and it's very rewarding. And I think that in itself is a great way to keep the momentum going. But let me stop with you for a minute and pass over to Julie Hogarth Williams, who's running the Seniors channel. Now, Julie, what is the Seniors channel and why are you doing it?
So the Seniors channel is digital entertainment on demand made specifically for residential aged care.
Right.
So we actually have been building this for 2 years, but as you can imagine right now, it's a product that's in demand.
So needed, so needed.
Yeah,
I just think, just to give people a little bit of background, I met you online in a startup group, and you said that you were trying to take your live entertainment program where you were obviously entertaining in people's aged care homes and actually put it online so that people could do it. Oh my God, I mean, you must have been prescient, really, psychic or something, knowing what was coming. But it's just so important, and I love it that you've been working in this space. So what drives you? Why did you even start this?
Exactly that. So basically, I was volunteered my time singing in aged care facilities. I only did a few volunteer concerts before they turned into, will you come back, we'll pay you, and then that word got around, and then I ended up, that was 6 years ago, so I've been singing as Jules Singing for Seniors for 6 years.
Great name, can I say, Jules, obviously.
Yes, I know, I agree there, Jules. So, although the only difference between our Jules, mine is with a Z. So
which makes you much trendier and groovier, I think.
Oh.
And I also love it that with the two of you, one of you is working at one end of life with mums and babies being born, and the other one is helping people who are towards the end of their lives.
Yeah,
It's
it does
just-
make it exciting, actually, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
So, but in your case, you're the kind of almost the opposite of Belinda in that you actually haven't even launched this yet. I thought that it had actually launched, but it's moments away, I think, isn't it?
It is. It's so close. So it's basically one last obstacle, which I got up at 3 o'clock this morning to overcome.
Right.
And that's just fine tuning the platform.
Yeah.
And we're pretty much ready to go. So I have customers that urgently need something in their aged care facilities. So, I've got people just saying, when can we have it?
I bet.
Yeah.
It's so urgently needed now because they can't get those entertainers and people that come in and do craft and the visits from the primary school and all that kind of thing. That's all ended for them. So they're kind of locked in and having to watch normal daytime television, which we all know isn't fabulous. So
No.
I think, and I want to hear a little bit more about the content that you deliver as well, because I think that's really interesting. But let me just go back to Belinda now. Belinda, talk to me about the coronavirus and how that has affected you and your 800,000 mums.
Yeah, so obviously it's come around. It's come around, obviously, pretty quickly to sort of have such an impact. There's been a lot of concern from our pregnant mums, predominantly.
Yes, gosh, I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, if you're about to have a baby with all of this, you'd be terrified, I would have thought.
Yeah. So we have a private Facebook group called Pregnancy Mums Australia. So there's a lot of mums who are pregnant, first-time mums, second-time mums, and so forth. And a lot of them are concerned around, am I extra high risk? Is my baby going to catch it from me? Will my baby catch it when they're born? That kind of thing. But it's also around the limitations of who can be with you in the birthing suite.
Yes. Thank goodness they've changed it back to say you're allowed your partner in there.
Yeah, because at one point they were talking about not allowing any partner, which is just heartbreaking for a lot of women. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to go through labour on my own.
For a first-time mum, I think I would have been
Yeah.
saying, I'm crossing my legs, it ain't coming out.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want to do it on your own.
That's right, yeah. So there's a lot of anxiety around that. So it's trying to help them with the facts, because there's a lot of hype in the media, and we try and really protect them as much as we can.
And for them to prop each other up, I think, is also great. So I'm assuming that the ones who are the second and third time mums are helping the first time mums as well. So
I love that.
And in terms of your business, have you had to change anything? Because you were an online service anyway. Has there been any difference? I mean, even maybe in terms of the numbers of people that have found you recently.
Well, we are a digital business to start with. Like, that's our whole business model. So for us, fortunately, it hasn't had a significant impact at all. Our team are very used to working from home, and so we already had the setup. I guess for us, we have that channel to market to the 800,000 women. So for brands who are looking to now connect through digital means, I guess that's the most powerful.
Yeah, perfect. Because I was going to say, are your advertisers falling off? But I guess maybe they're not in your case.
No.
Because you're so well established and you have that massive audience that they all want.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's our revenue model is advertising. So we sell advertising to brands who want to connect with our mums. Our mums don't pay a cent. And that's the whole model of how I started it. And I'll be darned if I'm going to change it. Like, I'm just really passionate about creating that service for women. But we did have some campaigns cancel because factories in China were shut and the toys couldn't be manufactured or whatever it might be. Production had stopped. So they just either postponed or cancelled, and that's totally cool, right? Could be a lot worse. But for us, it's just business as usual. We do have a Homeschooling Mums Australia Facebook group that we've started because my goodness, I've tried homeschooling my kids already and it's challenging. So we want to be that resources, information, guidance and so forth for them as well. So that's growing at a rate of knots now, especially now that they're confirming that kids are going back. So it's,
I bet.
Again,
and
it's
you're only getting the
Victorian
Victorian one. Yeah, and you're only getting the Victorian mums now. You've got New South Wales to hit you again, I guess, next week or the week after.
Right. Yeah,
brilliant. All right, so let me ask Julie. Now, your business has been presenting shows in aged care homes, so obviously you've been massively affected, as well as having that enormous impetus. I can't speak. impetus to, you know, get it online really quickly. But how's it all affecting you?
Yeah, so I have done around 600 concerts in aged care over 6 years. I am always booked out, and I usually have, you know, a year or two of bookings ready
In
to
advance,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was directly affected straight away because I have a regular booking at Dorothy Henderson Aged Care,
Right.
and I was in Dorothy Henderson at the time where the first breakout happened.
Right.
So
Is Dorothy, sorry,
therefore,
for those of us like me who haven't maybe picked up on that,
sorry,
is Dorothy Henderson that one of the ones that had a cluster of people
yeah,
that
the
got the
first
virus?
one. Yeah,
Right.
so
Oh
in
my goodness, and
Macquarie,
you were in there.
I was. So
Right.
that's in Macquarie Park, and there's actually a group of aged care there. Beautiful people, awesome aged care, and they absolutely love their residents there. So I immediately was told that, you know, I was in there at the time when the breakout happened. So I had to cancel all of my work for 2 weeks at a minimum, you know, at that time.
Yep.
And that was probably before anyone else had to cancel.
Right.
And then we were told that, you know, there's no entertainment, no contractors going into aged care for at least 6 months. So then I got 6 months worth of cancellations within
Oh,
24 hours, 48 hours. So that was 100% of my income gone.
just
Now,
right.
you know, financially that's hard, but emotionally it's okay because you would, as an aged care entertainer, you would never want to bring in any type of
No.
infection or illness. And the way that the Seniors Channel came about was exactly that, because even though right now this is, you know, a crucial lockdown,
Yeah.
lockdowns happen all the time in aged care. So,
Oh,
but they
do
don't.
they? Right. Well, that kind of makes sense. So if somebody gets the flu, that's it. Or if, you know, some...
That's it. And
Right.
you know, I have often had to ring up and say, I've just got a tickle in the throat. I don't want to take a chance. And then they're grateful that you cancel
Right.
because, you know, it can go through aged care very, very quickly. So, in relation to, so basically I have lost my income for a good 6 weeks now.
So what are you doing? I
And
mean, have you got a partner who is earning, or are you applying
yeah,
for
so I have
JobKeeper, or...
I've applied for the JobKeeper and everything else, but you know,
Yeah.
do you ever hear back from the government? I'm not sure, but I haven't got it yet. But anyway,
Yep.
but I do have a husband. He's a postie, so he's in essential service.
Thank goodness. Right. So you've
Yeah,
got
hours.
some money coming in while you're working
Yeah,
on
the
this
hours.
channel.
Yeah, the hours have been cut, so that. But anyway, you know, putting us aside, everybody else is in the same boat, so it's okay. But what it has done, we have pivoted the Seniors Channel again because we were going to launch as a subscription-based entertainment channel.
Yep.
But immediately we saw that we needed to do live streaming. So
Yes. Great.
the live streaming concerts we have built within 3 weeks.
Wow.
And yeah, so
And where are you
that's a
going to do
big.
them? In your lounge room?
No, we have a studio.
Oh, great.
They're going to be very professional. So I congratulate all the other entertainers out there. They are doing everything that they
I know.
can to get entertainment into aged care. But we have chosen to do it professionally. We do have a music license that we've had sitting there waiting for this to happen. So it's
Oh,
all
good.
legal. And the last bit, you know, what I mentioned before is just the platform that we're going to use. So we had a platform ready to go for the subscription model, and we quickly had to change that to adapt to a live streaming. So we will have live streaming concerts, which will be pay-per-view, and then we'll have
On
subscription.
demand as well.
Yeah, which will be available as well.
Oh, fantastic. It's a bit like the ticker model. You're just doing ticker for old aged homes instead.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, look, girls, I'm going to take a break now because when we come back, I want to know a whole lot about your journey, like where you started out and how you've ended up where you are. So we'll just take a 2-minute break, grab a glass of water or whatever. Everyone will be back in 2 minutes. And then I'm going to find out from these two amazing women how they got to be doing what they're doing now.
There are now more ways to watch Ticker. Download our apps for Apple and Android devices. We're live on Twitter and YouTube Live. And you can catch us on Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Head to the Ticker website for more. From Ticker, you're watching She's the Boss. Here's Jules Brooke.
Welcome back to She's the Boss, which is the show all about female founders and women in business and the incredible things they're doing. And today I've got two awesome guests. I've got Julie Hogarth Williams from the Seniors Channel and Belinda Jennings from Mum Central. Now, Belinda, I am so intrigued with your business and your business model and how the hell you've managed to grow it to the stage that you have, because you are someone that, like, I mean, I bow at your feet for what you've achieved. So can you tell me, starting out from the beginning of your career, not the business, the beginning of your career, like when you finished school, how you've ended up doing what you're doing?
Gosh, that was a while ago. Okay. So look, I guess, for me, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was finishing school. I did a lot of maths and computers were just coming out then, and
Right.
information processing in English. And I loved that whole technology side of things. Left school, kind of got a reception job, worked into an admin job, worked into kind of accounts. So I built up this real admin skill set, but still
Right.
it wasn't still fulfilling enough. And then my mum and dad built a luxury houseboat on the Murray River. And
Wow, hang on, that's amazing though. So you have a luxury houseboat on the Murray River in the family. Nice.
Yeah, well, we did have, but they built this luxury houseboat. They're retired, and they did it for a bit of a hobby to keep them busy a couple of days a week.
Right.
Anyway, it started. The business was exploding, so they built a second houseboat. They were called
Right.
Unforgettable Houseboats, and they truly were unforgettable. So they were going really well, and my mum and dad said, we really need some help. And I was a bit bored with my role in Adelaide, and I thought, that sounds like a bit of a change of lifestyle. So I went and moved up to
admin over
Murray
to running
River.
luxury boats. And what was your role
I
there?
know.
What did you do?
So pretty much it started out as office manager. So I was
Right.
just going to take care of all of the administration, all of the bookings, and cut my teeth in marketing and help them, sell these boats and book them out. I'd never been in tourism. I'd never done marketing. I'd never done sales really.
Right,
But when
thrown in the
it's
deep
a
end.
passion burning inside of you,
Yeah.
So I took a lot of load off of my mum specifically in that area, and we just started to really build up this business. About the time when the internet.
Go on.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say,
Right.
so you learned for a practical reason, you learned all your marketing skills.
Oh, you bet. So the internet was just kind of launching then.
Right.
And here I am sitting at home in, a country town where I didn't grow up. So my night times were like, let's jump on this internet and see what it's all about. So I really started to love the online space. We launched a website really early on before any of the other houseboating companies really had websites, and I learned how to create our own website. We put a webcam on the wharf so people could watch the boats coming in and out. We did 360-degree virtual tours.
Did you build that website for them? Like, did you build up the skills, or did you manage the project, or
No,
how did that work?
I had someone build it for me.
Right.
WordPress wasn't a thing back then, but I did have someone build it for me, and I learned from them how to do it so I could manage it ourselves, because I'm a really hands-on person. Yeah, and I learned Photoshop and just started to create and play around on the website. Put all the available dates. I did a lot of things no one else was doing at the time, but I figure, you know what, like, we need to sell this holiday concept. So anyway, we ended up with a fleet of 10 luxury houseboats. We won 16 state and national tourism awards. It was the most incredible 8 years of my career.
Yeah, wow.
Day. And you know, to do that with my mum and dad was just really rewarding.
Special.
My dad was such an integral role model for me in learning from him, watching how he did business, how he treated customers, and what his underlying values and passion was to drive the business. And I knew one day that I wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know what.
Right.
So in 2004, they sold the business to retire properly. And I left then, did a couple of years overseas in London, traveling, working, you know, did the visa thing. Came home and met my husband quite soon afterwards, and then had a honeymoon baby. So things moved pretty quickly at that point.
Yes.
But it was when my son was 6 months old that I was selling his gear on eBay and Gumtree, and I just went, oh man, this eBay is actually really expensive if you're selling quite a few things, and I wasn't really getting the return from it. So I decided to turn to Facebook, which was very new back then, and started an album called Belle's Baby Bargains and posted it on my profile and thought my friends could maybe buy my things.
Yeah.
Got very impatient because I'm impatient and said, I want to reach more people. So I started a page, and I started Adelaide Baby Bargains, and went to Adelaide mums and said, hey, I've got this stuff to sell. Why don't you post your things? Let's sell them up, steam up each other and save money.
Yeah.
And it took off. And we had 2,000 members in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'd really hit on a need, not realising how big the need was. Then I went and got a local web developer to create like a classifieds website for parents that we had functionality and categories. And
but
I wrote
at this stage,
release.
it's still just listings. So it's just, here's a listing and here's the price and just buy it, and a shopping cart on the back end, I guess.
Well, yeah, because I was just going back to full-time work off of maternity leave at this point. Didn't realise I was starting what I was starting at the time. Right. I just started a bit of a hobby, really.
Oh, my God, I love it.
I wrote a press release and sent it off to a few media outlets. And
Good
today,
woman.
tonight,
I'm very pleased to hear that.
Yes.
And what did it do for
today,
you?
Tonight, picked it up. They came to my house and did 6 minutes.
Right.
And it went national, and it took off. My website crashed, which at the time wasn't exciting, but in hindsight was the best thing.
It's
it
a
just
good
showed
reason
the demand.
for crashing.
Everyone wanted. I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I applied for a tech accelerator program called the ANZ Innobuy Start.
Yeah.
While I was on maternity leave with my second child, and I went into a 12-week. I was chosen from about 130 applicants in 17 countries.
Well, you were obviously the right woman for them to for them to pick, because look at what you've done with it. And I mean, also, I bet in those days they didn't have that many of those sort of mum type businesses coming to them. I'm sure there are more now, but like, so switched on. You are just brilliant. So, okay, so you did the Accelerator Program with the ANZ
I did.
one. Yep.
I did. And I didn't realise what I was sitting on, I guess. You know, they were my mums. Like, you know, that run through my blood. But from a business perspective, everyone told me it would never work, that it would fail, that I had to start charging my mums to use the service. And I'm like, no, let's flip it on its head and start charging the brands who are going to benefit from what I'm creating.
Yeah.
So I did 12 weeks of intense mentorship, and this program was amazing. Pitched to investors at the end.
Which again is incredible, because I don't know very many mums that actually do take that leap to go and try and find an investor and do the whole pitch deck and actually go out and do it properly, rather than get funded by a friend or you know, whatever. Really interesting to me that you did that. And did you manage to raise some funds?
I did. Yes, I did. I actually got overwhelmed with interest and handpicked who my investors would be. Because obviously, technically, you know, mums are one of the most highly sought after demographics for advertisers. I had traction. I was just launching as Australian Baby Bargains and going national.
And roughly
so,
how many
they loved
how many
it.
women did you have in your community at that stage, roughly? Do you know?
47,000.
Oh my goodness. So no wonder they were all over you like a rash. I mean, that's still a huge amount back then.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's right.
so you've raised the funds. What did you put the investment into, and how's it grown since then?
Yeah, so I started to build out my team
Yeah.
because it was me. I had a few admins who were volunteering, but I actually started to pay them
Yeah.
and build out sales team and so forth, and really started to scale what we're doing with Australian Baby Bargains.
Yeah.
I started an app, but that was a bit of a nightmare project, and one of the lessons I learned. And then just to really start to grow the business. And along the way, I started to really hear what mums wanted. And there was this recurring message of, what did other mums say? What did other mums do? Like, I get that the experts have all their valuable information, but it's a lot of pressure on mums these days to meet these ideals. And they were really struggling, but they found it so powerful to hear, what did the other mums do in this situation? And to be completely honest with you, I guess the real thing that's been driving me in all of this is when I had my first son, I went into a really dark place for the first 6 or so weeks, because such a capable person, suddenly my son had colic and breastfeeding wasn't easy, and I was just
That is
sleep deprived.
such a classic tale, particularly of people who've been quite into their career and into life. And I was a bit the same when I had my first baby. You do kind of go, oh my God. And also, where's the degree that I'm supposed to have, or everything else that I do, I have to go and get a qualification for. How come I've just got this and I don't know what I'm doing? And really other mums are absolutely the source of all knowledge for that kind of thing.
Yeah. And back then, like, I was on a forum, and a complete stranger one day, I remember, reached out and said, you know what, honey, it's okay. My son did that too. Try this. And I tried it, and I've got goosebumps, and it was the biggest game changer for me. And I just went, oh my goodness. So as my community started to grow, I've never forgotten how powerful that collaboration of women together with a united cause has been. And that's what's driven the values of building out the Mum Central network. So we are really authentic in the way that we bring information. We don't do controversial, we don't do gossip and all that kind of jazz, because that's just not sitting at where we're at.
No, that's brilliant. Well, you are just such an inspiration. That is just the most amazing story. And I definitely want to find out a little bit more about the app later. But let's go over to Julie. Julie, can you tell me how you have ended up as an entertainer in aged care? I mean, I find it really interesting, right from, what you did in your early career, right the way through to the launch, or the imminent launch of the Seniors Channel. What's happened in your career?
So interestingly enough, at school, I was very determined to be a preschool teacher.
Right.
So I left school. I was too young to get into. I left school young, so I was too young to get into any type of course. So I had to do retail for a year. When I was doing retail for a year, I went and I volunteered in a preschool.
Okay.
And that when I was old enough, so old enough was 17. So when I was old enough to then apply to TAFE to go and do the certificate 3 in childcare, back then I think it was called.
So you've always been very caring and nurturing, obviously. That's interesting. So you qualified in childcare?
Yeah, so I'm a qualified childcare assistant. I don't know what the terminology is these days. That was so long ago now. But and I did that for 10 years. So I worked in childcare for 10 years. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But I had children of my own, and by the time I had children of my own, I didn't love it so much because
like
you were just
get away from home to go back to the same situation. Yeah, I can understand that would start wearing you down.
Yeah, so and also, like, it doesn't matter how many qualifications you have in childcare. When you have a child of your own, it's like nothing, just like you were saying before.
That's reassuring.
So, yeah. So anyway, then I separated. So I had 2 children, single mum for their whole lives. My children are adults now, but so I did it pretty tough, actually, and in doing that, I just did jobs like ironing, part-time
Oh,
jobs,
good on
Avon,
you. Yeah.
all that type of
Whatever
stuff.
we
Because I
have to do to make ends meet, I guess.
yeah, I didn't want to send my children, you know, into care, so I stayed at home with them, and we were just pretty broke for about 5 or 6 years. But I did actually love every moment of that. And then when my youngest son went off to, we're living in Queensland at that stage, so when he went off to preschool, I started looking around for work, and I didn't have a car or anything, so I had to walk a long way to the nearest office block. But I walked into an accounting firm one day,
Yeah.
and I said, is there any work going? She said, actually, my secretary's just left. Are
Perfect
you
timing.
available? I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do that, sure. And I knew nothing.
Right.
Had not ever looked at a computer, knew nothing at all. And she said,
Thrown
can you
in the
start
deep
now?
end.
I'm like, sure, I can start now. So then I did. So I started that day. I taught myself how to use a computer and pretended that I knew what I was doing. And that was just a part-time job for a while. That turned into a full-time job. And amazingly enough, I have always had a bit of an entrepreneurial brain. So
Yeah.
I could see that she was a fantastic accountant. So she was just a sole trader, fantastic accountant, very bad at running a business.
Right.
So I said to her, do you think maybe if I help you with this, if I can change your business and make more money for you within 6 months, can I get a profit share?
Oh,
And she's
clever.
like, yeah. She said, sure, because she thought, there's no way you're going to make more money.
Well,
And I
there's no
did.
loss for her, because if you make more
No.
money, then she's got more money to pay you anyway. So I can
Yeah.
totally understand that there was no downside for her whatsoever out of that offer.
No. So I did that, and I did make more money. So I got a profit share of that. And then I said to her, well, how about I become a partner? So I just asked, and she said, okay. So I became
Brilliant.
a partner.
I love that. You never get anything if you don't ask for it, is my motto, and
No.
that just proves it.
Yeah, and she actually said to me that she wanted to get out from owning a business. And I said, well, how about we give ourselves a 2-year plan? We will, make sure that our revenue goes from this to this. Once it gets to that point, we'll try and sell it to another firm.
Yeah.
And then we'll both get something out of it. So we did that, and we both got a lot more out of it than what we thought that we were going to. And then we both sort of just walked away. I secured her a job at that firm, which I think she's still there.
Right.
And then I moved back down to New South Wales after that. So then I had a lot of things going on in my life at that time. So I sort of floundered around, did little bits and pieces of jobs, found myself working in a cigarette shop, of all things.
Of all things.
I was just retail in a cigarette shop. I actually
How did that lead to aged care then? How did you get into the aged care sector?
I didn't like that job at all, but what I did love is I loved serving the elderly. So I would always go that little extra mile of serving them, and I got to know them. And then once a week there was, a bus that would come in from the local aged care home, and I got chatting with them, and they were telling me all about their aged care home. And then I thought, by that time I'd met my husband, who is a singer as well. So we both met at karaoke.
I didn't realise that there's two of you. That helps.
Yeah. So we both met at karaoke. That's a funny story. I have to tell you another day. But so we both met at karaoke. We were running our own little karaoke gig in pubs. And so I was getting used to singing, getting more confident. And then I just said to him, working in the cigarette shop was not fulfilling my brain. I said to him, I would so love to go and sing for the elderly. So I just went down to the local aged care facility, which was Peninsula Village. I just volunteered my time, and as I mentioned before, that's how that turned into full-time work. I'm still booked out there. I've been booked out there every year.
Oh, that's gorgeous. How long have you been doing it for them? Or since the first
6
one?
years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Wow, and it's
So-
just such a natural progression, I think, for you to bring this online. And personally, from my own point of view, my partner's mother went into an aged care facility the day of the lockdown, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he hasn't been able to see her. They've got to talk through the window. And I just keep thinking about these people who are stuck in these homes with no way of getting anything to sort of bring them joy other than mainstream TV. So what you offer, I think, could be completely life-changing for them.
Look, I think it will be. Well, I kind of know that it will be. We've been testing it, and we're getting such a great
Yeah, I bet.
response. The thing about the Seniors Channel, it's not about watching TV. It's about interacting. It's about engaging. It's about feeling connected to the person next to you, to your lifestyle coordinator, to the people running the
Right.
activities. And everything that we do is based around engagement and connection. So when you can, that clip that you're showing now, you can see that
They're all joining in, that's right.
Yeah, I have a knack of getting people to join in and do things with me.
So is that why you've chosen live streaming? Are they going to be able to interact with you? Are you going to be able to ask them questions and they can answer? Or is it just that you'll perform and they can say, we want you to do this song, or how's that going to work?
So they're not going to be able to, unless I have, any investor and have around
Hello out there,
$100,000.
anyone?
Yeah, hello. And I need about $100,000 to build a platform that can do that.
Right.
So
but
at
do
this
baby
stage,
steps at first. Just get it out there.
That's right.
Build the
Yeah.
demand, and then if you go looking for an investor, they'll probably be very interested, because you're feeding right into a sector that we know is growing, and it's only going to get much bigger. I mean, I'm definitely of that era. We were the baby. I don't even know what gen we're called, but there's loads of us, and we're all sort of in our 40s, 50s, early 60s now. So it's not very long before we're all going to hit the aged care sector and all those kind of needs. In fact, almost, Belinda, what you're doing, people are going to have to start doing for older people, I think, at some stage soon. There's a new morph for your business. When you get fed up with mums, you can move into old people.
Yeah. Well, the baby boomers are really driving the change for aged care.
Yeah, right.
They
so
have
they
a
should,
higher,
because it's appalling.
yeah, it is appalling, and the Royal Commission is awesome because it's bringing everything out in the open.
Yeah.
And I've been following that, very, very closely. But the baby boomers are really driving a big change for aged
Good.
care, and it is good, and I'm really happy about that.
Well,
That's
I
needed.
just love what it is. In fact, I love what both of you are doing. You are really so inspiring, and both of you are helping such huge sectors of society that really need it and need that support. So it's brilliant. Now we're just going to take another break. And then after that, when you come back, I want to ask you some questions about things that you've learned along the way. I know a very interesting little fact about Belinda that we have to explore. And I also want to ask her about the app. So come and join us in another couple of minutes when we're back, and I'll ask them those questions.
There are now more ways to watch Ticker. Download our apps for Apple and Android devices. We're live on Twitter and YouTube Live. And you can catch us on Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Head to the Ticker website for more. From Ticker, you're watching She's the Boss. Here's Jules Brooke.
Welcome back to She's the Boss. Today, as my guests, I have Belinda Jennings from Mum Central and Julie Hogarth Williams from the Seniors Channel. Now, girls, both of you have such great stories, but I don't know which one to go with first that you told me, Belinda. I'm going to start with, tell me something interesting. I asked you the other day if you had a little fun fact that I might be able to share, and it's such a good one. And nothing to do with your business, of course, although probably did kickstart your lifestyle, but tell everyone what happened to you. Or what you did, actually.
Yeah,
it didn't happen to you. You did it.
I did, yeah. So I was the carryover champion for 5 nights on Wheel of Fortune at the ripe old age of 20.
Oh, wow.
My mum went on it years and years ago. Yeah.
Before
and my
you?
friends all laughed when Yeah. Back when Ernie Sigley used to do the show then.
Oh, God, love him.
Wow. I would have been like 12.
And 5 nights, does that mean you win everything?
No, well, you spun for the major prize each time and sort of won prizes throughout the show. I won 2 major prizes.
Right.
One was a $4,000 white goods package, thanks to Hoover. So that kind of started to set up my house.
Yeah.
And then a $4,000 golf club set, which really had no value to me because I didn't play golf.
And
but
you sold them, presumably.
$17,000 worth of prizes, 25 years ago was pretty decent. So
it's even decent these days, let's be honest. So so what did you do with it? Sorry, go on.
I set up home. So I shopped specifically for all the things off the, when you win each puzzle, and set myself up. I had all the white goods, electrical goods, I had bedding, I had all sorts of stuff. So, and a holiday.
Amazing.
So it was awesome. Yeah.
I love that little fact about you. Now, Julie, I want to hit you up with a fun fact. So you have a think about it. And in the meantime, Belinda, I want to ask you about the app thing, because you can't say I did an app and it was a disaster, but that's another story, because loads of people are thinking about apps. So why wasn't it right for Mum Central? Why do you think it didn't work?
Well, it was back when I had the baby classifieds, baby bargains, and that was my main thing, right after I'd got an investment. And
now,
I was
let me
just
ask,
looking at ways
was this before Groupon and Scoop-On, that kind of thing, or was that happening at the same time?
It might have been, like, they weren't prominent back then.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess for me, it was ways that mums could search the site really easily from the comfort of their mobile phone, have all that functionality. So essentially, Australian Baby Bargains is Gumtree for parents. It's a classified site, but it had 50 odd categories of all things baby and kids. So I wanted a way that they could just shop like you would on the Gumtree app for all your baby and kids gear, because, it was really, really popular. So
why did it go wrong?
Well, I commissioned a company that had a really good reputation through a platform I was using. Lost in translation. Not being techie myself. Not being techie myself. Like, I only knew what I knew. My web developer was based here in Adelaide, but I sort of took this on my own, not thinking it would be as difficult as it was. And once you get so far in, I was doing the whole, do I keep going? Do I stop? Do I put good money after bad? And in the end, I just ended up pulling it and just put it down to experience. But
that's a really wise move. Have you thought about doing one since, as just a forum that people can jump on and do comments like Facebook? Or have you just gone, nah, I've done it, I didn't like it, I'm not doing it again?
To be honest, Facebook does that really well.
Yeah, true.
And that's where the mums are at. So that's why, we've got 660,000 mums on Facebook, and we reach probably 10 million every month organically.
Wow.
So, so it's powerful. So we'll let Facebook do that thing right now. And we'll
why not? Exactly.
Innovating the business.
You're exactly right. And have you got some plans for the future, that you've got some big plans, or are you going to keep ticking over the way that you are?
Loaded question, but absolutely I've got plans. I've got so many ideas of what I'd like to do with the business, innovating for the community, as well as just different ways that we can separate ourselves as being really unique in what we do online. And, I guess being agile, and being online, we're quite agile. So we're just able to pivot based on whatever.
And you've got the perfect market to test on. You know, if you want to
Yeah,
try
that's
something out and you say to your mums, because I feel like mums are so forgiving if you're honest and real with them and say, I want to
Yep.
give this a go. Do you want to all have a go and let me know what you think? You will no doubt get
Yeah.
all the responses from them as to whether it's working
We
or not. So you're in a beautiful position.
absolutely. Yeah. Look, I've got a
Fantastic.
stellar team around me too, and that makes a massive difference. And they're all mums, and so we brainstorm ideas, and we're testing all the time. We'll try things. Sometimes they fly. Let's do more of that.
I
Sometimes they
love
bomb.
that.
Let's not do that again. But
That
that's
is
the joy
just
of
the right.
digital.
It's the perfect attitude to have, I think, because if you don't try it, you don't
Yep.
know, and you really can't lose. All
Exactly.
that will happen is you'll be back where you were beforehand. So,
Yep,
absolutely
exactly right.
love your attitude. God, you're my kind of a chick. All right, so Julie, now I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but have you got some fun fact or something that you could share with us?
Oh, look, this is just, it's just an interesting thing that happened to me. When I was a preschool teacher, I do get bored fairly easily. So I was ready to move on.
Yeah.
And I was approached by a company that sells education equipment into childcare.
Yeah.
So they said, you know, we'd love to come and have you do some sales. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'll do that. So, you know, the only thing I heard in the sentence was you get a free car. And I was like, oh, awesome. I didn't have a car.
I'll do it. My hands up, I'm up for it.
Yeah. So I left my career in childcare, which was a good career, based on the fact that there was a sales job where I get a car. Anyway, so the first day, the company was based in Ultimo in Sydney, and I mean right in the city.
Yeah.
And the first day I turned up, and I was listening to everything. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get a car. You know, that's all I was excited about. And so it was a high-ace van, stick shift manual, and I didn't drive a manual. I had no clue how to drive a manual, and I didn't want to say to them I didn't drive a manual. So I just got in the car.
Oh my God! Don't tell me.
Bunny hopped all the way over the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And I lived on the other side of the bridge at that stage, and I got home, I was like, oh my God. And that's how I learned to drive a manual. I literally bunny hopped all the way across
you
the
are
Harbour Bridge.
so funny. That just because you didn't want to tell them you didn't know how to drive a manual, that is hilarious. That's a great fact. All right, now girls, we're going to have to wind up fairly soon, but I would love to hit you up with, have you got any tips that you could offer other women that are thinking about setting up their own business, or that are already in business? And I'll start with you, Belinda. Have you got a tip that you could share, or a couple?
Yeah, I was going to say, pick one.
I know, I'm going to go, where are you going to start? But anyway.
I know. Look, I guess for me, it's always been like passion drives the growth of my business. You know, I didn't start out to be all about the bottom line. I started out to solve a need. So find something that drives you.
Yeah.
Don't, and that's going to help drive you even more. And do your research. Find out what the market needs. Don't try and sell something to the market that you think they need or that you like. Find something that they need. And if you can find the need, the rest will come. And I didn't set out to start this business. I just set out to fill my need, and then it exploded. And then I realised how much need there was. So,
and then opportunities come to you because of the passion that you have, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Just look, you know, for me, it was like I bootstrapped so much of the business in the early days. And I just got onto webinars and Zoom calls and learned and subscribed and taught myself what I needed to know about digital marketing, how to run a community. I followed my gut. I let my gut say, well, how would I like to be treated? Because that's how I'll treat everyone as well. So, you know, it's just a bit of like an extension of you, and just, you know, hold your ground and don't go for the cheap way out.
No, that's great advice.
Overnight.
And let's be honest, with what's happening with coronaviruses, loads and loads, like all the TAFEs and everything are offering free courses, as well as lots and lots of experts out there offering all sorts of free advice and free courses. So now is the perfect time, if you're at home, whichever it is, to start thinking, what do I really love, and how could I maybe go and learn a little bit about how to run that as a business while you're at home anyway? It's the perfect time to upskill.
Absolutely.
And Jules, the other Jules, can you tell me, have you learned something along the way that you would like to share with other women that might be in the same position as you?
Yeah, well, look, I actually echo everything that Belinda just said, because, I'm pretty much living exactly what you just said. But what I do want to say is always back yourself, and don't allow other people's negativity get under your skin. Because when you have an idea that's outside the box, nobody's done it before, you get a lot of people putting you down saying that's not going to work. So I'm so glad that I didn't listen to one person that said that to me, because I'm doing it for the same reason, Belinda, is absolute passion and a belief that it's a requirement and not just a treat. It should be, entertainment in aged care should be an everyday thing and not a treat.
And that's exactly why it's going to be a huge success, Julie, because you're right. And that's also why Belinda's is such a success. I have no doubt about it at all. And it is about not believing the people that don't, and even if it's family, you just go, fine, that's your opinion. I'm still going. I know that I'm on the right track.
Yeah. And I also say never give up. Like, I'm a very determined person. We have had so many things go wrong. We've been ripped off by people. We are still in the bootstrapping stage, and we have had people take advantage of us and advantage of the fact that we don't know stuff. But no matter what, we just don't give up. And the other thing I would say is pivot. Because
well, now is the time. You're totally right there.
Yeah. Every time you think you got it right, something happens and you need to quickly just adapt just like that. That would be my advice to anyone.
Yeah, and I think your point about resilience is so important. I know I met with a guy called Carlos Santoro, who was the head of the International Entrepreneurs Organization many, many, many years ago. I don't even know if I'd set up my Handle Your Own PR business then. And I said to him, I don't even know if I'm an entrepreneur. And he said, you're never giving up. I can tell you've been doing this for ages. You keep talking about it. And he said that is the one difference between a successful entrepreneur and somebody who has ideas. Because loads of people have ideas and think about things, but they just don't act on it. Or they get swayed by people saying it's not a good idea. And that is, you've just got to follow your path and go, I know I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people said...
Sorry. Okay, you go first, Belinda, and then we'll get back to Julie, and then I want you to tell people how people can find you. But you go first, Julie.
Look, a lot of people
Belinda.
told me that it would never work and that I should try something else. And then a lot of people would say, I can't believe that nobody thought of that before. And I used to say a lot of people probably did think of it before, but I took action. And I think that's the key thing. Just get started. Don't wait for perfect. Just get it out there and get moving. And done is better than perfect, in my opinion. So
terrific advice. And Jules?
I agree with that. I was just going to say I have found that it's important to build a tribe around yourself. So we have kind of lost friendships with people and gained friendships with people through this process. But then we've also had people that have supported us from day one just because they know who we are and they say, hey, if this is something you believe in, then we're going to support you no matter what. And I value those people. They all know who they are, and I value those people. And you've got to look after them and treasure them because those people are the ones who'll get you through. And there's only a small group, but they are so valuable. Yeah, fantastic. Well, honestly, girls, it's just been such a delight to talk to you both. How do people find you? Belinda, how can everyone find you? Although I know you can Google Mum Central and up it comes. But is there any particular way you like people to contact you if they've got ideas? So there's the community group. If anyone wanted to contact you about business ideas or initiatives, how would they best get hold of you? Yeah, so our website is mumcentral.com.au. Our Facebook page is Mum Central, or they can email me at belinda@mumcentral.com.au. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And Julie, how can people get hold of you? And I'm hoping that somehow or other there will be aged care people that will watch this show and go, oh my God, I need that service. So how do they get hold of you? So the seniorschannel.com. Okay. And info@theseniourschannel.com, and we are on Facebook and LinkedIn. A lot of my my customers are actually on LinkedIn. So aged care, a lot of CEOs of aged care are on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I just want to quickly say that we are looking for aged care homes that want to become part of our pilot.
Yep, great.
So we're securing some of those now. We have a few spots left for that. And also we've just been told that we have the music license for New Zealand, which means that we are going to be going to New Zealand as well as Australia.
That's brilliant. And of course, the other beautiful thing about you taking this online, Julie, is that the world is now open to you, because really, you know, as long as they're English speaking, and I guess that probably doesn't matter when it comes to song and dance anyway, you know, as soon as anyone goes online and does that pivot, it opens up your market enormously. But listen, thank you so much, both of you, for being on. It's been fantastic to talk to you. I hope everyone out there has really enjoyed it. And I will look forward to seeing you all next week on the She's the Boss show. But thank you so much for coming, and I hope you've learned a lot. I know I have.
There are now more ways to watch Ticker. Download our apps for Apple and Android devices. We're live on Twitter and YouTube Live. And you can catch us on Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Head to the Ticker website for more.